Hello, I'm Isaac Murray and welcome to Toolbox Talks. It's a podcast for groundbreakers and change makers within our Toolbox community. And today we're joined by Amy Munro and Kristi Wilson. So Amy Munro and Kristi Wilson were at the beginning of the Toolbox at its very inception. So, how did the Toolbox start? Because I've been working with the Toolbox for about 2 years now. And, you know, I can see the real need for it, and I know the sort of odds and ends of its origin story. But yeah, could you tell us a little bit about where it all began?
We were working for 11th Hour Racing Team, which is a professional sailing team that at the time, back in 2019, when the team first formed, they were looking to do this round the world sailing race. And that had a very strong sustainability component. And as Amy mentioned, we have these incredible resources of Damien and Amy being this powerhouse team of all things sustainability, from operations at the team base to bringing everybody together and educating us on different topics when we were living remote around the world, when we weren't together as a team. And I just remember, like, I first started working with Damien and Amy on the onset. The same thing, don't we? I know. The Damien. Combined name, Damie. And we just need Damien here right now. And we were first working on the sustainability policy and the mission and vision of the team. And I just remember thinking to myself of like, it's just a sentence. What does it matter? And Damien and Amy coming in and really drilling it into my head, this importance of coming up with a really solidified mission statement and vision that the entire team could get behind. And from then on, I was like solely bought into the program and how important each little piece is to creating a very holistic sustainability strategy. And Damien always talking about his dream of like creating a template that other people could replicate really easily. And then when COVID hit, it was the whole team just kind of all the operations came to a halt. The race that we were training for was delayed for a year. And the founders of the team came to us and they were like, what can we do to continue to add value to this incredible sponsorship that we have with 11th Hour Racing? So from that, we were really looking at bringing Damien's idea to life during COVID. So we spent this extra year that we had and try to kind of turn it into a gift of how we could use this time to really make an impact with our campaign. And this has kind of been that lasting legacy that's come from it. I know it's personally the most important thing I've worked on from a career perspective. It's, you know, one of the things I'm most proud of. So.
And for me, I think, you know, a driving factor behind it was the fact that, you know, I think something like 80% of our footprint was in our supply chain. So while we were doing, you know, everything that we could operationally to reduce our impacts, we really needed to invest some time into helping our suppliers and peers to get on that journey as well. And I think what it creates is like a robust, because I think this can be quite overwhelming where to start if you want to start doing more purpose-driven work. Like there's so much out there and it's not always easy to know. If you were to describe the Toolbox and what it is and what it does, what's inside the Toolbox, how would you describe it in a couple of sentences? I
mean, yeah, it's an 8-step process to help anyone of any organisation, size or sector to implement a sustainability strategy. And, you know, like Kristi was saying, it starts with laying all your cards on the table and thinking, where are we at and what's our mission here? Well, who do we want to be and how do we build towards that mission? And then you start to look at the issues, you start to think about the stakeholders, you start to set targets and progressively build out that roadmap.
Often sustainability nerds have a bit of a tendency to speak in a lot of jargon and talk in riddles and say things that people don't really understand or that isn't really that clear. And what I love that you kind of brought to it was to make it really digestible and really kept us out of the jargon trap.
If you are handing this module over to somebody who has no background in sustainability, like it needs to be digestible. And so I feel like I was like that annoying person on the call being like, oh, wait, what is that again? It's like, just so we can continue to add clarification and really challenge ourselves on how can we make this more consumable from the average person who might be passionate about sustainability but doesn't have necessarily the background and the experience, which I think is such a cool part of, or one of the very cool things that is offered as a part of the toolbox, is that you don't have to have that knowledge to be able to like take these resources and be able to implement them. When you think of the competitive world of sailing or professional sport in general, there's a lot of keeping your cards close and like not sharing different ways that you're innovating or advancing technology within the sport from a competitive side. And I feel like we really saw that of, these teams are so competitive, but when it came to the sustainability side, this really was a way where we could like break down the barriers, be collaborating with other teams, which I think made a bit more of like camaraderie amongst the other IMOCA teams in the class, or even from across events, from Sail GP to IMOCA to the ocean race. This was kind of creating a common language of where we can really share with other teams, instead in this very competitive landscape where there's often not a lot of opportunity where people can share. So that's one thing that I really loved about what the Toolbox did within the sailing community.
I know that you're both, I guess, quite personally quite close as friends. Do you think there was any, like you say, these late nights where you're sort of in together trying to get down to the bottom, do you think this relationship helped to build the Toolbox in any way? Do you think there was, I don't know, there was a camaraderie element to it that kind of, we're all in this, we're both in this together, three of us are in this together kind of thing?
Oh, for sure. I love that about events and sports in general, is that one team kind of culture where you all just muck in and get it done and get it over the line. And then it's that sort of, I love that that sort of dynamic of you work really hard to a deadline and then you kind of go down again like that, rather than a sort of consistent plot. So for me, it's like the perfect way to create or to build something. I loved it. But
yeah, and I think the relationship part of it, I sometimes tend to get stuck too much in the weeds, and so it was good to have Amy there by my side to just like pull me back out of the weeds a little bit. So that definitely came handy.
I feel like I often speak to people about building sustainability strategies, believe it or not, and I think that is one of the real keys, isn't it, to be able to have somebody to lean on and people to work with and interact with to actually get things past the post. I think we often have a phrase which is, the people are your best asset. Is that what we say? But I think as well as that, the relationships are, and knowing who you can call on for the right things and how to work across teams to get to the right ends. Like when you're saying, I don't know what this means. You guys need to make it a lot more accessible. I think, knowing that there's somebody there to do that, and really leaning into people's strengths and talents is the best way to sort of build these big strategies and big projects.
And then I think we suddenly had all this stuff, but then it's not really real until people start using it. IMOCA helped us to translate all the resources into French, and since then it's now in Spanish, Portuguese, and currently translating into German. So I think that sort of element of, as you say, understanding the community, what they're looking for, what they need, but also what they can bring to it. And a lot of, the kind of vision for the Toolbox long term is that members can start uploading their own resources that they've created and sharing other pieces as well, so it becomes quite community managed as well.
Yeah, and in that period you were just talking to about working with IMOCA and sort of prototyping the Toolbox. What were the parts? What was it that was done? And I don't know, what was the process of going, this really works, or no, that's absolute rubbish. we can't put this in the Toolbox anymore.
I think really understanding the size of the teams and therefore operations, so you can definitely streamline it. The way it's created, you can pick and choose different bits and pieces, and because you might have already resources or documents in place that do certain things, so it's a case of you don't have to take everything from the toolbox and use all of it. So I think that was a real lesson learned, is actually some teams actually just needed this bit or that bit, and actually probably a more simplified version of that. So I think for example, the carbon calculator that Imoca developed off the back of the one in the toolbox is a really streamlined version that was really geared towards the audience of the teams. So I think, and that was kind of in the way that it was designed. It's all based in sort of Excel-based templates and spreadsheets and documents and things like that that are completely editable by people wanting to use them. So I think that was quite cool, seeing how they then adapted them for their purpose. Quick fire round. Favourite tool in the toolbox and why, Kristi?
There are so many. I think it goes back to the basics. I like module 1 just because it helps you put together a plan, establish your goals and what you're looking to get out of it. And I think it's that first aha moment of where you're okay, I can sink my teeth into this, I can do this, and I'm not alone. I'm going to identify what other stakeholders in the organization are going to be on this journey with me. And I just think back to all of the times that we were working together on, trying to make a decision amongst the team. Are we going to go with the supplier or not? Are we going to make decision A or decision B, and really using that sustainability policy in order to help guide those decisions. I just always felt like it was our grounding point when it came to tough decisions or stances that we were going to make as a team. And I'm going to stick with module number 1.
Love it.
Right? That was it. How to create a sustainability policy.
How to assess your starting point.
Oh, how to assess your starting point. Yeah.
Isaac?
I think step 4 is the best for me, because it's the part of the process where you start to go from discovery into action. And I think once you map out where your direct control and influence are, and you map out what it is that we actually can do, it's then the point where you turn from, okay, we're starting to do a sustainability strategy, into these are the things that are going to be part of our sustainability strategy. Let's now design some initiatives to do it. So
you get into the meat of it. These are the things that we get to change, and yeah, that's cool. I've got a question. Okay, so we're 3 years post-launch from the Toolbox. Where can you speak to the breadth and depth of what sectors it's touching?
Well, I think that when we talk about sectors, because it was mostly started in sport, we have around a third of our users are from sports. So every sector we look at in the sport category is a different discipline. So we've got people from tennis, from cycling, sailing, of course, but right across the spectrum. I think we even had someone sign up from pickleball the other day, which is a sport that I've only just sort of come to learn about.
Come to the US, it's everywhere.
Yeah. But then outside of that, there's then 60% of our users who are approaching this from just pure business sense. So we've got people from healthcare, we've got education, research, different universities using it. It really stretches right across the board. I mean, like I say, there's 95 different sectors, so I could sit here all day and talk about the different companies that are using it. But again, it's that adaptability that kind of gets it.
My vision is not necessarily that we like obviously growing users is great, but it's actually bringing more value to existing users. So how can we kind of really understand the community that are already engaged and what they need, what tools or refinements to tools would be better to make sure that it's really usable, practical, and and so to make sure that it's sort of really fit for purpose, I think would be my vision. Yeah. What about you?
I think, similar, like along those lines. I think it's creating a community where there's a feedback loop on what's working, what's not working, where the toolbox helps my organization most, maybe it's something different for another organization, just so, I don't know, I feel like it would be, it's a great way to create connections between different organizations that might be struggling with some of the same problems, and really developing that community aspect of it. I see a lot of value in that.
I think it's the community won't be the community without the people in it. So I think this is my sort of call to action to say, any Toolbox users, we'd love to hear from you. To get in touch, let us know what it is that you'd like to see more of, what it is that you'd like to get involved with, and any questions or any dialogue and discourse that we can have to help you reach your sustainability goals. We are here to help. So
I think that's the kind of the purpose of this as well, is to start. This is the origin story, if you like, but it's really would be cool to have different Toolbox users on the podcast, understand what their biggest challenges, successes, how they've had fun with it, and really get to understand more about the community.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been really great to talk to you guys. I think I'm super excited that we got to do this. I'm really excited to do more of these podcasts and have some more discussions with the Toolbox users. But it's been really nice to dig a bit deeper into the Toolbox, and I think this conversation is one that has been long overdue, but I'm very happy to have seen your lovely faces and had this conversation today. So thanks a lot. And thanks to you guys for watching as well. If you want to get in touch and join us for the next podcast, please do. But stay tuned. We've got more content coming and more podcasts around the corner. So thanks a lot, and we will see you on the next one.